Thank you. The Office of Emergency Management is on the front lines of the Bronx building collapse. Crews are back at the scene this morning, once again clearing debris and securing the structure, while residents are still trying to figure out their next steps.
Yeah, emergency management officials have set up a center now at the Bronx Community College to help them do just that. Emergency Management Commissioner Zach Iscol joining us this morning with more on what's being done to assist hundreds of displaced people. So good morning to you, Commissioner.
Good morning. Great to be here.
You've had a busy weekend with the rain, then you had the building collapse, and this morning we have a massive fire in the Bronx. So let's begin there. We just heard the update from the FDNY. What is the latest as you coordinate this massive fire here?
Yeah, so we have the fire department is on the scene. They are still trying to get the fire under control. But one of the things that is always amazing to me is just how lucky we are to have all of the folks we have who work for the city doing what they're doing. Whether it's the firefighters, whether it's even, this morning we had to vacate the building next door. I think you covered that in the earlier segment.
You can see it right there, that building that's behind the fire scene right now.
Yep, and so that building had to be evacuated this morning due to smoke, heavy smoke. We have the MTA coming out there bringing a warming bus. We have folks being prepared to start assisting those residents. And so every time something like this happens, whether it was the weather over the weekend, whether it's the Bronx building collapse, there's a lot of people from the city who show up looking to help.
What about those 5 businesses that are now destroyed right before the holidays? What happens to them, and what kind of help does the city offer?
Yeah, so there's 7 impacted businesses in that neighborhood. We have, and again, this is part of that holistic city response. So SBS is out there assisting those businesses, looking at ways that they can maybe tap into insurance claims, if there are certain other types of programs that they can get access to assist them, not just during the holidays, but to get back on their feet.
Yeah, all right, so that's the latest with the fire situation. One minor injury so far is what you're hearing as well, right?
Just one minor injury so far, correct.
Okay, so we'll keep a close eye on this fire in the Bronx. But I also want to talk to you about the other big story, and that is the building collapse as well. First and foremost, people are wondering what the heck happened here? What is the cause of this collapse? So what is the latest in the investigation into possibility of there being some kind of work that was being done in the building that may have led to this?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's a question we all have. The last 48 hours, it's been 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
The last 48 hours has really been focused on the response, right? So we had the initial response. The fire department was on the scene in 1 minute and 36 seconds.
That's impressive.
And, I was out there talking to the mayor that night, and we're out there in the middle of the scene, and I can't emphasize this enough, but one of the things that we were talking about is you're looking out at all of the folks that are out there, the NYPD, the MTA, small businesses services, working with local businesses. You've got our agency, you've got HPD and Department of Buildings. This, over the last 24 hours, we've had to do a number of pet rescues into the building with ACC, some of the animal assistance centers that are out there. So there's this response that takes place, and that's really the phase that we're in right now, the Red Cross. What can we do to make sure that building is now safe, right? So we have contractors out there shoring up the walls, trying to get the building back to a place
that
where...
part that's exposed, the corner part that's exposed, is that going to be partially demolished?
We don't know at this point. I mean, that's still part of the engineering assessment that needs to take place. And so the initial focus was the life safety. Now we kick into recovery, right? Making sure that we're taking care of all of the people who have been displaced over the short term. And then the investigation needs to take place. And that's just in very much the initial stages. And I don't want to sort of predict what that might reveal. I mean, they've really got to do their work on the investigation.
Can you give us a glimpse of the history of the building? How many violations it's had before? Was the work that was being done safely being done if violations had not been cleared up?
So again, that's not that investigation needs to take place. I think initially what we've seen is that there was I think 5 311 complaints over the last 5 years. Most of them related to the shed, right? That was outside the building. Some of it related to complaints about the construction company, people not wearing helmets, people not wearing harnesses, not posting things. But again, we have a lot of work to do in this investigation to figure out what happened and what went wrong.
So the investigation is one thing, but like we said, it is the holidays, right? Folks want to get back into their home, get some of their belongings who live in that building. What is the timeline to allow folks to get back inside, even if it's just to grab a few items?
Yeah, so the team is working on that. As you said earlier at the beginning, we have set up a reception center at 2155 University Avenue. So folks that are looking for services or help, they can go there. We've already registered about 121 adults and 32 children, representing 42 families. And that's really where we are right now in terms of assisting people. I don't have a timeline right now on getting people back into the building. We got to make sure that building is safe before doing that. I will also say if folks are interested in helping, they can make donations to the Salvation Army. They can make drop-offs specifically for this building during the holidays at 4109 Park Avenue in the Bronx.
We'll put it on our website
and
too.
so those are ways that people can also help if they're interested in doing so.
I just want to sneak in a quick question, and we're out of time, about assessments of buildings like this, right? It's a monumental task. We saw the garage collapse, right? And you and I have spoken about how to do these inspections. Is it solely on the city, or should it now be a wider group of people who really inspect the magnitude of buildings in the city?
Yeah, look, I think it's a great question. You know, my friend Jimmy Otto, who runs Department of Buildings, you don't have a finer public servant. He has about 500 building inspectors who are out there doing their work, and I know this is something of paramount concern to him and something that they're looking into in terms of how we can adjust some of the ways that we're inspecting buildings. But I think that there's, again, the investigation needs to take place to reveal exactly what went wrong here. There is a whole host of things, and I don't think we want to get ahead of ourselves in terms of what could have possibly gone wrong, whether this is something that was predictable, whether this is something else that possibly could have caused this, whether it was something related to specific construction related. There is a lot of variables here. I think the investigation needs to play out. And then if we need to make adjustments, if there's things that we need to fix in terms of our processes in the city, we'll absolutely do so.
Okay.
All right.
If I could, just one other thing that I want to add is,
Yeah.
this morning we had this building that we had to vacate. You know, a couple nights ago with the Bronx building collapse, people had to be displaced. I really encourage everyone to have a bag packed and ready to go. You know, one of the things we see when we have to vacate or evacuate a building is people have medications that they need. People have documents that they leave. Could just be a license, a credit card, but have a bag with some stuff that you might need overnight or for a couple days. One of the big challenges that we always have is then going back into buildings. There are folks that have certain needs that we need to meet. Looking for pets is another one. So having that bag, having some photocopies of your documents, some cash, medication, some of those things, if in the worst case you need to leave your building, even for a short period of time, you're going to be very grateful that you can just grab that bag and go.
Go bag, ready to go.
Yeah, all right. Zach Iscol, thank you so much. Commissioner of Emergency Management here.
Thanks for having me today.
Appreciate it. Happy holidays to you.
You too.